Well, hi. Welcome to our Becoming a Coach series. And today we are talking about building your coaching business. We're so glad you're here. We have an exciting hour for you, you guys. We have some awesome coaches who are going to be part of Coach Panel. I can't wait for you to meet them. I also want to say that this is a really special week for Life Mentoring School. This is Coach Week. So we have lots of awesome calls this week, including an amazing webinar on Friday. It's the last of our Becoming a Coach series in why you should become a Christian coach. So I've really never taught about that before, and I'm excited about that on Friday. It's going to be at noon Eastern. And for the last time this year, the second and the last time this year, we're opening enrollment for our certification program. So you do not want to miss Friday. We are announcing some amazing enrollment bonuses. So Friday at noon, mark your calendar, be here for that. I'm so excited. I love Coach Week and I love introducing you to so many of our own coaches. So I'm going to start bringing people on. If you are part of the panel today, just raise your hand and I'll start bringing you on. There's my Angela. There's Carrie Hunt. Shelly's coming on. Let's bring Shelly on. I'm just going to bring you all on as panelists. And we are going to have fun today. Hi, ladies. Here's Miss Lindy. We have Carol. Okay, have I missed anybody? Hi, everyone. Oh, so awesome to see you guys in the chat. I know, it is, Lisa. So fun. Okay, Lindy still didn't work. Let's see if we can bring Lindy on. There we go. So anyways, I'm so glad that y'all are all here. I'm really excited. Now, I talk about the business of building a coaching practice, and I've shared my story quite a bit. I'll actually share a little bit of my story on Friday, but what I'm most excited about today is hearing from our own LMS coaches and what their experience has been after they got certified and started helping clients and building their own coaching practices. So I'm going to let each of you introduce yourselves and just tell us a little bit about you, who you coach, what kind of, maybe if you do a program or you do one-on-one or whatever. And if you don't mind to just tell everybody real quick where they can find you, if they want to look you up and find you. So a quick introduction to you, who you help, and where they can find you. We'll start with Angela. Hi.
Hey, I'm Angela Jowers, and I came through the very first certification that we ever did.
Yes.
So I've been coaching about a year, and so I coach one-on-one, and I am just a general life coach. And what else did you ask? I was checking my email to see if I could find any of our other panelists.
Oh, sorry. Angela is like working and being a panelist. So there you go.
Sorry.
Angela, where they can find you.
Oh, I am Land of Angela on Instagram is where you can find me.
Land of Angela on Instagram. Awesome. And Angela is also program director for our programs. So awesome. Okay, Carrie Hunt. Hi.
Hello. I love
Good
being a coach. Good to see you too. I went through the first round along with Angela, and I love being a coach. So I get to work for LMS, and then also I have my one-on-one practice, and I'm a general life coach. So I help, but about 3/4 of my practice are college age young women, and I have a young man as well, up to like age 30. So college age, young married, where I've been hired by their moms to help them weeks at a
Carrie,
time.
I love this so much. I actually referred somebody to you a couple weeks ago. I don't know if she's reached out yet, but she asked, do you have anybody who coaches young girls in college or young career age? I'm like, yes, we do. So that's so awesome.
I love it. I mean, coaching, anyone who's thinking about it, it is literally sometimes the most worthwhile part of my day is that 1 hour. It just really is. It really, really is.
Nice.
And then lately I've had more women closer to my age who are coaches or just LMS members that I've been able to coach. And that is equally a joy. So it's been great.
I love
And
that. And how do they find you, Carrie?
so Instagram, Carrie N. Hunt. I'm on Facebook. I'm in the coaching directory for LMS.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go to all of our coaches, I think all of the coaches we have today are part of our directory. So if you go to edwadsworthcoaching.com and click on the directory, you can find them as well. All right, Shelly, welcome. Oh, you're muted. Let's see. Hold on.
There we go.
Hi.
Hello. I'm just so tickled to be here.
I'm
So
glad
my
to
name
meet
is
you.
Shelly Knapp, and my background is I was a women's ministry director for many years and loved helping women. And when I found coaching, I just went, oh my gosh, this is everything I've always been. And it's been the thing that has been missing from my life. And it's the thing that is helping women with their life. And so since I have found you, I have been set fire on what I believe has been God's mission for me my entire life.
Oh,
So I have so loved everything that I've been able to do for myself and for others through this. I am a one-on-one coach, and general life coaching is what I do. I think a lot of women that find a lot of success for me are when they are in need of relational help with their children or adult children or marriages. And then also women who are looking to level up in their career and in their life, just really feeling stuck because they have been held captive by some kind of negative thing that's happened in their life or some kind of bondage that has held them for years. They've really been set free from it. So it's what I love to do. People can find me at shellyknapp.com, and the spelling of my name is unique, but it's right at the bottom of my screen without the phonetic spelling of it.
yeah. And so, Shelly, are you in our directory as well?
I am.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, perfect. Hi, Carol. So glad to have you today.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good
Give
to
us
be
an
here. I'm
intro
so
to
excited.
you.
What's that?
I said, give us an intro to you. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I just finished up certification in the last round. We graduated in June. And my husband and I were on the staff of Campus Crusade for Christ for 20 years. And then I went back to school and got my master's degree in counseling in 2014. I graduated. And so I've been practicing as a licensed professional counselor for about 10 years. I was introduced to coaching a year ago, and was like, whoa, wait a minute. I've been missing this part of my practice forever. When I was introduced to the creation cycle, it just clicked in my brain so much as a practical tool to help my clients with the next step in their healing. And so through this last year, I've been doing some business coaching with Amberly, and have through this year really come up with a hybrid that I'm going to be offering my clients, a hybrid of counseling and coaching. So
Oh, I
my
love that.
thinking about healing past hurts, but also being equipped for the future. And I love it. I love that piece of let's look at the past. I'm certified in EMDR and internal family systems. So I can really get in there for the past, but then, okay, now we've done that work. Now, how do we move forward? And so I work with young men, young women, couples, women my age, because we did campus ministry for so long. I love working with college students. Got a few campuses in my neighborhood, so I have my in-home office, but also I do online work.
I love that, Carol. So awesome. Where can they find you? And are you in our directory too?
I tried, and I don't know if I got in the directory or not. So
Okay, we'll get
hopefully
you.
I am. If not, I will try again.
Yeah.
ConfidentHope.me. My practice is called Confident Hope. So it's
Confident
confidenthope.me, or you could reach me at my email address, Carol Frey, FREYLPC@gmail.
Love it. So glad you're here. Hi, Lindy.
Hi. Okay,
How
so
are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. This is so
Yes.
fun. I've loved hearing all these ladies' stories too. Carol, what you said like about that hybrid, that is going to be so incredible. Because that is like literally exactly what I needed about 5 years ago. I kind of started in therapy, very scared, started in therapy, and did that work, but then didn't know how to move on past that to really create a life that I loved and honestly just experience a life that I had differently. And that's when I found Dr. Edie, creation cycle. I love the creation cycle. It to be able to see people's eyes just like open up and they're like, oh my gosh, like the light bulbs go off when they begin to understand why they're experiencing their life the way that they are. And I think that once they see that, it offers tremendous hope to them. And so I currently offer one-on-one coaching. I work mainly with moms who are in my season of life. So moms of littles, I have a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. And then I also do a little bit of group coaching inside a few memberships. So Look Up Collective with Wen Elder and Elizabeth Servin, and then work some with Annie Rohde's membership as well. And that has been something really fun for me to learn how to do. I had done a lot of one-on-one, hadn't done a lot of group. And so that's been really interesting in a really good way. But I actually started coaching one-on-one prior to being certified. So I had probably 6 to 8 months of one-on-one coaching under my belt when I entered certification. And
so good, Lindy. I love that part of your story.
So I just want to encourage you, if you feel led to coach, but the not being certified piece is holding you back,
Yep.
you need to just start. So when I entered certification and was able to implement all these things like for myself on a deeper level, but then also be directly applying it, like, and teaching it to my clients at the same time, I think it just like went in deeper, in terms of me learning the material and really like embodying it. And it was super cool. And so, I found that incredibly beneficial. And also so many of those women, if I would have like, they couldn't afford for me to wait. Like they needed what I had
They
to
need
give
help
them now. Yeah. And so, just starting in what you have right now, you're already so much like you're further ahead than they are. And so
you can help them.
yes, 100%. So that's what I do. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Lindy.Goodman. And then I also have a podcast, Rise and Shine. So, that
I
are
love
ways
that.
that I reach mamas. And so,
Oh, I can't wait I can't wait to get into the business side because you guys all have different stories and different ways you're kind of approaching the business, which I love.
Dr.
So
Edie, Jessica has joined us if you want to bring her on.
Oh,
She
yes.
is part of our panel as well.
Oh, yay. Let's bring Jessica on. I love that. So I'll let you be thinking about my first question. I don't know if we'll get to everybody to answer every question, but my first question is, how did you get your first clients? What did you do? When did you do that? Because we just heard from Lindy. She did that before she got certified, which I love. I got my clients before I got certified as well, which I think is so fantastic. Honestly, you can pay for your coach training you can pay for your coach. I paid for mine. You can pay for your coach training a month or two into it, maybe before you even do it, by helping people, because Lindy's so right. You can help people. And of course, you're going to get these amazing tools and certification, but man, if you can apply them as you're going, that's awesome. Hi, Jessica. Welcome.
Hey, you guys. I'm so sorry.
You're perfect timing. We just did introduction. So give us a quick introduction and then tell us who you coach, who you help, and then how we can find you.
Yes. Well, thanks for having me on. And your program was so helpful because I am I'm also very successful in network marketing. So I've coached people for years, but I was coaching telling people what to do.
Yeah.
They're coming to me to like tell them what to do. And so
Yeah.
your framework and asking the curious questions and really helping people process emotions is a
Yeah.
huge component. So anyways, I help women create business, women create more peace and make more money and steward their business God's way. So I have since I already had my time, it might be a little bit of a unique situation. I already didn't have much time with my network marketing, is that I started with a membership program, a coaching membership for high level leaders.
Nice.
So it's, I call it Leading Ladies. And then I also have a podcast called Christian Leadership Coach. But did I answer the question? I'm so
Yes.
sorry.
So where can your podcast is, say that again. I just want to make
Yes,
sure that's
Christian Leadership Coach is the name of the podcast, but I'm on Instagram, Jessica Heffley _. I love, love, love to help high level leaders. I really feel the Lord has told me to help women be able to handle stress. High
love that.
capacity women, give them
High
the tools
capacity women. Yep.
to be able to handle all of the things. And so much of it starts with mindset, but we do a lot of high level leadership work as well.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. We have such a good variety here today. So, Angela, I want to start with you because you have had a lot of success in your one-on-one practice. So tell us how you got your first clients and when you did that. How did you get them? When did you do that? Were you finished with certification?
We were just finishing up certification, and in the middle of the night, I offered free coaching sessions for 5 people, 4 sessions for 5 people to finish up my coaching, to practice coaching basically before I, got my certification. So I said to finish up my certification, I wanted 5 people to practice on. I offered free sessions, and I did a little application where at the very last question, it said, I understand at the end of my, during the last session, I will be offered the opportunity to become a paying client.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't exactly know what that meant or what I was going to charge or any of that. But I just wanted there to be the understanding that I am going to offer to keep going with you if you want to keep going. And for that, I will need to be paid. So, so I had several of them, like a couple of them didn't keep going, but a couple of them did. And
I love that.
So that's how I got my first clients. Was I offered some free sessions, and then a few of those became paying clients, and then I just kept going from there.
And did you, looking back, are you really glad that you did the sessions for free at first, which we do recommend, especially if you're brand new?
Yes, because I felt like this is just me. So this is just, again, file this wherever you need to. But I felt like I didn't want to charge yet because I didn't feel in myself confident enough. And, like I felt like I needed to practice on some people who weren't trying to be coaches, because we do a lot of practice in the certification, but we practice on other people who are trying to be coaches. So they're kind of in this work. They're already doing mindset work. They already kind of have the vocabulary and that kind of thing. And I felt like I wanted to practice on some people who were not necessarily, in coach certification. And I didn't want to charge for that yet because I didn't just feel quite confident in how to coach them. And I learned so much in that 20 hours of coaching that I did for those people one-on-one. And I really think it helped me to be a better coach.
Yes. I love that. Carrie, what about you? Oh, you're muted. Sorry, darling.
Awesome. Thank you. I was reflecting on this because I kind of have this sort of belief that the clients just kind of fell in my lap at first, but it was a little more than
I kind of love that belief too.
Yeah, because I could just stick with that. And another part of that is that I was even a little shy to say I was going through certification. I don't know if I felt like it was bragging or if it made me feel like they were all going to hold me accountable for this great business. But so I was a little shy. So I got brave enough on hikes with girlfriends when they had a problem I guess I was sort of coaching them as we had conversations. And then they would say, well, wait a minute, that's amazing. Where did you learn that? Then I'd tell them about LMS. And then I would tell them I was going through certification. And so then once I was done, I had no idea what I was going to do with it. And I remember you saying that very last call with our group, probably the last question and answer. And I remember saying to you, oh, I just love this work so much. If you could just tee up some clients for me, because I don't know how to find them. I remember saying that to you, Dr. Edie. And
Yep.
and then I had a friend who was one of these friends who knew I went through the program, and I was willing to say, I'm a coach, I can help. And she was going to be out of reach from her daughter for 6 months. Her daughter was young, married, pregnant. She said, I just want your voice in her ear. Can I hire you?
Stop it.
And I said, I'll do it for, what do you want to charge? I'll do it for free. No, she had owned a business herself. And she said, I want you to start where you want to end up, or at least initially. So then I, of course, texted Angela and said, how do I do this? Because Angela's always been ahead of me on the path. So I just kind of always watch what Angela does. And so she
Yeah.
helped me. And then I was rolling, and then she told somebody and they told somebody, and it was rolling.
I love that. Lindy, I want to ask you really quick, because you did get your clients. You may be the only one here, maybe besides Jessica. No, Shelly had clients before too, who got clients either as you were getting certified or before. So tell us about that. We'll start with Lindy.
Yeah, so it was like the fall of 21, I think. I had a couple of friends. So I've been in network marketing, had been kind of, Jessica, what you said, yes, for years, and loved encouraging women. I had a couple of girls that were brand partners on my team, and we're dealing with some life stuff. And I was just really brave. And I was like, hey, I really think that I can help you. Let's like do a couple sessions. They insisted on paying. And so they paid me like $25 a session.
Okay. Perfect.
But that gave me the confidence. That was incredible practice, and gave me the confidence to then in December just say online, like, hey, I've got, I don't remember what I said, 4 spots, 6 spots. They're launching at this date, and they literally filled in like 24 hours. And so that was the beginning of and for that, I actually had like a package kind of deal. But that was the beginning of the journey. So
just out of curiosity for other people who might want to do that, because people are always curious, and we are going to take questions, you guys. So if you have questions for any of our panelists, put them in the Q&A and we will get to questions. But I'm curious, Lindy, what kind of package, like what did that look like for you? The first package that you designed?
Yeah. So the first package was 6 sessions for $250.
Awesome.
And it was, so I felt comfortable with that number. It kind of matched like my belief at that point. But it also was enough buy-in for my clients that they took it seriously.
Yes.
And I think that piece was really important. Like they showed up like ready to work, and also showed up like expecting results. And so it worked well.
I love that. Shelly, in your practice, did you already have clients from your other work, or tell us about yours? Oh, you're muted. Sorry, honey.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so for me, LMS changed my life, and just this light bulb came on with it. And so when women would come into my ministry office, I would just secretly say, okay, I wonder if this little tool is going to help them too. And sure enough, it was helping women. And so by the time the first round of certification came up, I applied for it, but I hadn't been in LMS long enough to be qualified.
Okay.
And so I wasn't accepted until the second round.
Okay.
But what I decided was, I knew that I had the gifting that God had put in me to make this work, and I could help women right where I was at without the certification. So I just decided to go all in. And so what I did was applied and got into the second round, of course, because I applied into the first round. And so I knew certification was coming for me. But what I decided was, I'm just going to start right now. I'm ready to go. And so what I did was I offered a full package from the get-go. And what I decided was that I just made this number up in my head. I said, I'm going to go through 23 no's before I get discouraged. And so
Oh,
I put out on Facebook, I let the world know what I was doing a bunch of times because people don't see everything that we post.
yep.
And sometimes it takes people a little bit to catch on to this idea and this
Yes.
concept because it's new for a lot of us. And so what I did was I just went all in with my package and just got started.
I love that.
So
I
it
love,
took a few no's,
yeah,
like
yeah.
3, but it was fine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We'll switch gears on the questions. I'm really curious, and we'll start with Carol for this one. I'm really curious, what has been the hardest part? Because I mean, I can say maybe what was the hardest part for me from deciding to be certified as a coach to sort of transitioning and getting the courage up enough to like start getting clients and start building a business. I imagine it's different for you because you are already doing the work that you did before in sort of the therapy world. But I'm curious, the hardest part for you maybe in your whole journey of getting certified, deciding you're going to form this hybrid business. What do you think's been the hardest part to work through?
For me, the hardest part has been the whole package deal. Shelley is testimony to this because we talked about this ad nauseum. Like, how much am I worth? Like, what is the price point that because I know what I've done in the counseling world and I know what people's expectations are in that regard. And
Yeah.
so that was hard for me to really piece out the difference between coaching and counseling. And then I came to the point, it's like, I don't have to. And people just need help. And so wherever I can help them. And then, because I have the opportunity to do counseling and coaching and I just do I personally do a sliding scale if people need me to in terms of the price that they're able to pay. And so I just work it out with them because I just want people to get help. And so I think the financial piece has been one of the hardest parts for me personally.
Parts.
Yeah.
I love that though. I love that idea of a sliding scale. And I think too, from people who are coming from the therapy world, it can be that sort of money mindset piece, the financial piece can be a little harder to navigate. I think it's one of the reasons that, we've done a couple of sessions in business mentoring school on money mindset, but I think it's really important to work on that. And I think it is harder even for myself coming from a medical background. I think it's a little harder sometimes when you're coming from that kind of a background. But I love that. Jessica, what would you say for you has been and you have such a unique situation because you were already coaching women. I love that you said I was coaching them, but I was telling them what to do and then learning, having way more tools than, just advice or strategy, which can be super helpful too. But I love the fact that you sort of now have, lots of good tools in your tool belt. What would you say has been the hardest part for you in either trying to figure out maybe how to transition or how to marry your two passions? Because people ask me that all the time. Okay, you were doing network marketing and then, you naturally evolved into getting coached, being a coach. How did you marry the two? I don't know if that was your struggle, but I'd be curious.
Yeah. I think everything comes back to your thoughts again. And I think it's important for me to say this, and I think all of y'all would agree. It's terrifying what we do to get started. It was like, I think people look at people who are doing it out in the world and they're like, oh, it's easier for her. It was terrifying. Like, it's still at moments is terrifying. Still.
Yes. Can we get an amen? Can we get a witness to the nervous system? It's hard to put yourself out there, right?
So you are not alone if you are terrified. And the big part of this feelings work is notice that you are terrified, but you still have a choice. And so even before this, I was always taught on do it scared. And if I've ever noticed, because the most of the world just avoids anything that feels uncomfortable, right? They're just like, no, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna touch. But what makes us different is that we are able to acknowledge that we are terrified.
Yep.
Still choose to do the thing. And that will make all the difference for you. It made all the difference for me. It still is when they say like daily creation cycles, I can tell the difference when I'm like daily creation cycle and I'm not. And when I'm not, I am spiraling in fear and what I want to change my mind to 500 times. So taking my thoughts captive, literally, and often has been the
Man, I
best.
think too, like you being willing to acknowledge that fear, not push it aside, not pretend like you don't have it, but acknowledging the fear and going forward anyway. That's exactly the process that you're about to help your client walk through. They're scared to say what they're struggling with. They're scared to take the initial step to even hire a coach. And I think when we do the hard thing and we're willing to go first, it sort of opens up the door for other people to go, oh, just because I'm scared doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. It
Yeah.
probably means I'm really close to something, to a breakthrough for myself. I'm really close to something that could be part of my, my own transformation.
It was also helpful when I remember that sometimes life coaches have these thoughts too. Like we think like, oh, I'm a life coach. I need to figure this out. Creation cycle this fear away. Like, no, what if life coaches sometimes have these feelings of doubt and fear? Also, it helps take some of the pressure off.
Yes, it does. And I think it helps. I love what Lindy just said, because I do think sometimes when we become life coaches, especially of the faith-based variety, we think, well, now I got to have it all together. No, we're not trying to help you be superhuman. We're trying to help you live in your full humanity and acknowledge the things that scare you, the doubts that you have, so that you can actually deal with them instead of resisting them, pushing them down, pretending like everything's okay. We're not for that. And I think it's such a powerful way to coach your clients, because when you can, in your own vulnerability, go first and do things that make you uncomfortable, that feel hard, then it makes it easier for other people to do it. Anybody else want to share what their biggest struggle has been with this? Because I do think this is part of what people worry most. Like, okay, I'm going to get this certification, and then what?
I think just there are several areas that are challenging, which life is supposed to be challenging, or it would be really boring. But one
Yes.
of the things for me was that I knew that what I was doing was leading a team that I loved, and I love working on teams. It's my favorite part about working outside of the home, is to work in teams. And so when I stepped into life coaching, it was just me. And I thought, I've got to figure all of this out. But the truth is, just like Carol was saying, and Jessica and I have had lots of conversations, we don't have to do this alone. We can be surrounded with other people who are doing it with us, and we can learn from each other, and we can help each other along the way. So it can feel scary that you're doing it alone, but you don't have to do it alone.
Right. And I
So
do think uniquely in our program, I can tell you that you will have so much support. Like, we have designed our certification program where when you finish your certification, it's really just the beginning. That's the way we look at it. Okay, now we're ready to really help train you. That's why we built out Business Mentoring School. That's why we have our coach calls every month. And we're always trying to figure out ways to support you now that it's like, now we're ready to start. I kind of compare it to when I did medical training. When you finish medical school, they call you doctor. You are the farthest thing from a doctor that there ever could be. But you got to you got to start somewhere. So you get your MD degree, and in the next year, you kind of learn how to be a doctor by being a doctor. You learn how to be a good coach by coaching people. That's why we want to help you. We want to do panels like this where you can see people are doing it scared. They're getting clients. They're raising their hands and saying, I can help you, which can be a terrifying thing to do, but so fulfilling and rewarding. Anybody else? Oh yeah, Jessica.
Can I say something else? It really was really helpful when you guys said, go ahead and start coaching before you're certified. That was in the back of my mind a lot. I started in August, and then I opened my coaching mentorship in October. So that was really helpful. But another thing from a recovering perfectionist is it's easy to get frozen. I'm like, well, what should my bio say? How should I word my website? What should my tagline be? And it's easy to not move forward. Like, I have evolved and changed that multiple times. And that's just
Yes.
one more excuse of fear of keeping you frozen. Just put yourself out there messy and you'll go farther than the people who are sitting on the couch.
Yes. And I do think it's so easy for us to get, I think our brains love to get caught up in the details because then we don't have to do the real thing of like actually putting ourselves out there and saying, I can help. Um, I also think that one of the things that I think helps so much when you're first starting is it's so easy because you are scared and because you do have doubts and because you're like, this is terrifying. It's so easy to start focusing on yourself. But when you can turn that attention to the person you know you can help, for me, that's what always gets me out of my head. It gets me out of the worry of what are people going to think and what are, it doesn't matter because there are people out there that I can help. And if I will be willing to put myself out there, then they can get the help they need. And so I think shifting that attention sort of outward has always been a huge part of how I get myself out of the spinning of, oh my gosh, now what? So I'm curious for those of you, because I think most of you here now have, coaching practices going. I'm curious for you, what do you find? Well, maybe two questions. How prepared have you felt when you're like sitting in an actual coaching session? How prepared do you feel you are to coach people on what they bring to you? So let's do that first part of that question. And anybody can volunteer, whoever wants to share. Carrie?
I can share. So I think with the creation cycle, you can literally coach anybody on anything. And I think of Angela's big tip, and this I've had to kind of remind myself, we don't grasp pearls. So maybe they bring something to you that has never happened in your life. You don't have any personal experience, but we don't act all shocked or discouraged. But if you're just calm and really like curious and compassionate, that other beautiful soul on the screen with you over Zoom and just listen and ask questions, I felt really prepared.
So good. Yeah, I think for anybody in a situation like that, often, even though we know this, now we teach you this in coach training, in certification, that this is not about giving people advice. But I can tell you that the first 20 times I coach people, my heart would go, well, I don't know what inside I'm going, I don't know what they should do. And then I would remember, oh, I don't need to know what they should do. I'm just here to help them, show them their own thoughts, access their own wisdom. And I think it finally sinks in. Like, I don't have to know the answer to everybody's problem. Anybody else want to share like what the experience has been when you're actually coaching, Lindy?
Yeah. So I feel like the thing I'm learning most right now, so I'm like almost 2 years in to this, is that like the most valuable thing I can do for somebody is to hold space for them and to allow them a safe, like to create a safe space for them where they can share the things that maybe they've never actually spoken out loud.
Yes.
The things that they think they're all alone in. Like at the end of the day, we are all so much more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
And it's usually the sessions where at the end of the session, I think to myself, I don't know if I even helped them today. I'm like, I have no idea. That is when the breakthrough happens. And it's just such a humbling reminder that I do not have the answers. I'm not supposed to have the answers. Like it is just, I just get to hold space. While the Holy
Yes.
Spirit move through me to them. Like that is it. And it is like truly sacred work. And it is like, I mean, I still like just jaw drop all the time of just how like faithful and good God is when we just come and we're just willing. Like that's all we need. It's just like a willing heart to serve the people and like he will do the rest. So I hope that breaks some chains for somebody who's just like terrified that they're not going to know what to say or do.
Yeah. And we have a whole, teaching on holding space. That's sort of a coach term for learning how to be a compassionate witness to someone. Because a lot of times the reason as women we don't have access to our thoughts and emotions is because we shame ourselves. And we so shame ourselves that we can't even get access to what we think or to what we feel. And coaching is one of those beautiful tools that we demonstrate for people what it's like to be a compassionate witness for them so that they can get access to their thoughts and emotions. And then what I love about this process is over time, after coaching with you, they learn how to be their own compassionate witness. They learn how to hold space for themselves, which is so powerful. Anybody else want to share what it's been like actually coaching? Shelly?
I'll just add to what Carrie and Lindy said. I'm in complete agreement with them. The other thing that I would add was that it's just asking good questions.
Yes.
That's the power. So in the very beginning, I had like my 5 questions that I thought always got a lady somewhere, and started helping them create some thoughts that were serving them, or help them dig deeper into what they were struggling with. And so I had my list of questions that if I didn't know what to ask, I could always just look back at my questions. Now I don't have to have that list anymore. But in the beginning, I kept my 5 questions that I always had with me.
I love that.
And
So
it's
good.
actually more freeing than it was for me than being in ministry and ministering to people, because I felt like I needed to have the answers for them. Just like Lindy and Carrie were saying, you don't have to have the answers for them. The Holy Spirit is within them, and we have scripture, and they have themselves, and they can find their answers. And a lot of times we don't believe that as women. We think we have to look outside of ourselves. And the truth is, all of our answers are inside of us.
Yep.
So
good.
Yeah.
Jessica?
A thought that I love to practice is I can't mess this up. Like if I'm too focused on like, I don't want to mess this up, then I get too wrapped up and I said thinking about myself instead of thinking about them. And another thing I've learned is because I like to have closure. Like I like to have a pretty little bow at the end, but sometimes in coaching, there isn't a pretty bow at the end of a session, but there are things for them to ponder and consider or bring before the Lord. It's like an invitation for even more holier work that may not always have a pretty little bow at the end of the session. You just have to trust that they have answers within them.
I love that. My next question is, go ahead, Carol. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to reiterate. It was interesting listening to the whole hold space conversation because, go to graduate school and it's amazing. Like this coaching program teaches these, what they call skills, and really it's be quiet. Like we had to do, lots of, we recorded lots of sessions, and one of the skills you had to practice was being silent.
Yep.
And learning to be comfortable with silence, because I'm not the expert in another person's life, they are. And if you can just listen and be silent, they will so often come up with the answers that come from within. And so that is such a powerful tool.
Love that.
I would say the more that I coach, by the way, I mean, I agree with everything everybody has said. I think the longer I coach, the more I realize how well prepared I have been. The more situations, the more, I mean, I've coached people through what I would consider some really serious things. I mean, I've also coached people on goals and how to lose 10 pounds and all that. But also, I mean, not that that's not serious, but, like some really traumatic type difficult things. And the more I coach and the more kind of, I don't know, the variety of situations that come across my Zoom screen, the more I really feel prepared. Like, I feel like, wow, I have been so prepared. Like, I really can coach anybody on anything. And as I'm going back through certification, all of our certification content, I've been going back through it the last several weeks. And I realized like, oh, that's why I know what to do. Like, I know what to do because this lesson, or I know what to do because we were taught about this. And I know how to teach somebody and talk to them about boundaries because I know, I was taught this about the difference between manipulation and what a real boundary looks like. And like all of that, like, I really, the longer I coach, the more I'm so grateful for my certification, because I do feel prepared for anything. And sometimes I talk myself out of that. Like somebody will come up to me with some situation and I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure about this, but then I just pull out the tools that I was taught, right?
Yeah.
Like the questions and the creation cycle and holding space and all the things that we're taught in certification. And actually I can help them. And
Yes.
even the part where we go first, which is one thing we're really taught in certification, is to use the tools on ourselves first as our own first best client. And the work that I've done through that on my own mind and heart has really was such great preparation to be a great coach. So
I love that. So, so good. Will we always have access to the certification teaching videos? Yes, you will. Good question, Leanne. I'm going to go through some of the questions that people are asking, and because I want to get to some of their questions too. As I'm looking through these and kind of compiling them, would everybody tell us the one thing that you think is most important in actually getting your business, launching your business? Like, what would you consider like is the most important thing that worked for you as far as starting your business, getting your first clients? We'll start with Angela.
I would say just to like the way I've gotten most of my clients is really just posting on social media. And so I guess the thing that has helped me most in that area is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I just started throwing stuff out there. And as I got into more of our business mentoring school training and things, my copy, which is what you actually write in your posts or in your email, has gotten better. Like I've just been willing to just kind of learn as I go. And to me, I think that's been important, because I wouldn't have had these clients if I had waited, like Jessica said, until I knew exactly what I was doing and did it just perfectly. And one of the things that you talk about in business mentoring school is being a little bit vulnerable with your own story. And I think that has been really helpful. I mean, I don't tell everything I know about myself, but I do tell some areas where I've gotten breakthrough. And I think that's been really helpful for people as I've built my business. So I think those two things, just doing it messy and also just being willing to share your own breakthroughs that you've had with
I love
coach.
that. Carrie, what would you say is your number one advice?
Probably being willing to say, I'm a coach and I can help. And then I
Yes.
love Angela's analogy of the curvy road, driving on a curvy road at night, and how the headlights will show you what you need to know next. And then when you
Yes.
turn the corner, then you'll have the view of the next area. And that for me is saying yes to things that scare you, and God will provide what you need. And the reward, sort of the life expanding excitement, will equal the amount you were scared before you did it. So the great feeling after always for me kind of equals the amount of scared in the before. And so
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so true. It's kind of like you have to be willing to really experience and process the hard, scared, fear, low emotions. And then you get on the other side of that. I love that, Carrie. So good. What would you say, Carol? What advice would you give? Your number one advice or, piece of
So
wisdom for building a business?
I just talk about it all the time. If
Yes, yes,
I'm out
yes.
in public, I'm with friends. I have spoken at women's groups. I've done trade shows. My husband and I sponsored a hole at a golf tournament. Like I just talk about it. I don't do a lot on social media. It's just not it's not been, I just don't like it. So anybody
Yeah.
who likes to do in-person marketing, just talk about it all the time. And it's amazing to me how it comes back. And it might not be the person that you spoke to, but they might tell somebody else. And I just have to tell this story. I just got a message from one of my first clients, and she has been talking to the guidance counselors and principals at our local schools, because she wants me to do a lunch and learn for the teachers in the school. So, just things like that to just the trickle down effect if you just talk about it.
That's such a great answer. Somebody had already asked in the Q&A, is anybody building like in person? And I think that you just said that you are, Carol. Somebody also asked, for any of the rest of you who answer, has anybody built without a following? Now, I don't think, I'm just trying to, I don't know all of your stories, but I know we have a lot of coaches who don't have a following, who didn't have like a big social media account or whatever before they started. It's still totally possible because you do have a network. And I think, Carrie, you're such a good example. You just had a great network. It wasn't like you were had a social media following. I think as much as it looks like you just have really been living in your community and sharing your gifts there. You just had a good network.
I think in certification, I think my Facebook account, Instagram were private, really, really small. Yeah. So it's been more in person, right? In my actual physical life.
In your life. Yeah.
But again, who just said, I'm not sure, it was one of you guys that, wow. Oh, I think it was Lisa in the comments. It's been kind of in person, but what if it's exciting to build an online presence too? I don't know. I love business marketing. I love all the possibilities.
Yeah. So good. Lindy, what about you? What would you say has been key for you, or some advice that you would give, like that you feel like, oh, this is really key to doing this?
For me, it was really getting to know who I was. I had like chameleoned my way through life up until I found you, Dr. Edie, basically. And when I learned who I was and really got familiar with like my own story and got confident about sharing that and really believing that, like, I mean, I think for all of us, like our pain, like that is our testimony. Like that is like how we get to help the people. That for me, I mean, I think that like, that is your magic, is like that, the things that only you can bring.
Yes. And almost like I love that you're saying that, because some people really disqualify their gifts because maybe this has happened or this has happened. No, that is your magic. That's how you really identify with the people you can help, right?
Yeah. I mean, in fact, whatever you think your limitations are right now, that's it.
Yep.
That's it. And so that, I mean, I feel like that was kind of like the doorway for me, but I had to work through my own stuff first and even be willing to even acknowledge those things.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're not willing to do that, then, I mean, maybe you want to share on social media, but like, is that even authentic then? Like, I don't know, So yeah, I mean, I think that was like the very first thing, thinking back to, the beginning.
I love that. Shelly or Jessica, you have anything to add? Jessica?
I'm actually a huge introvert in real life, so I do not talk, I barely talk about it in person. I have vastly utilized social media. And the way I found Edie was a friend of a friend through Plexus. Like, I had just decided I really want to get a certification, but I want it to come from a Christian. I had my first life coach I ever hired wasn't a Christian. It was a great experience, but I just wanted to be careful in the future. I wanted to get certified from a Christian. And so she just shared one thing in her stories, and a friend of hers who knew I was looking for a certification screenshotted it, send it to me, and that's how I found you. And so I hugely believe that's how I built my network marketing business, is completely through social media. I don't like public speaking. I don't like talking face to face. And so I love how everyone can do it really differently. But I do notice the more clarity and confidence I feel about what I have to offer, the more I talk about it on social media and the more clients I will get. And the less I talk about it on social media, the less clients I'll get. But so it's worked for me.
Really good. So good. Shelly?
For me, I would say I had to be willing to be misunderstood.
Oh, I love this one.
Yes. I am a part of a Bible church. And so something like this can seem a little woo-woo if you don't know what it is. And of course, there are some life coaches that are woo-woo, and I wouldn't relate to them. But what I do, I know is biblically sound. I know what you do is biblically sound.
Yeah.
And so I had to be willing to be misunderstood by people in my present circles and past circles. I had to be willing for them to think I'd gone off the deep end.
You guys, this is huge. I think this is huge. I think this is huge. I'm going to talk about this a little bit on Friday. This is huge in the Christian community because people are naturally really skeptical of anything that doesn't feel like it's a Bible study or, like, and we do use science tools. I think everything that we use is grounded in scripture, but we use tools from psychology. And yeah, so I agree. I think that willingness to be misunderstood in order to help your clients, what a
Yes.
brave thing to do.
Yes. And so I would also ask myself in the beginning, who am I not to? Oh, who do you think you are, Shelley, to hide your gifts that God has given you? Oh, you're
Yeah.
not. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You need to be brave. You need to
Yeah.
build the boat before the rain even begins to sprinkle.
Yes.
Some
That
of
is
those things. So for me, it was just being really brave. And like Lindy was saying, really figuring out who God created me to be and living in that despite what other people thought.
Yeah. So
So
good.
yeah.
I love this question. Michelle asked, are you taught to hold an actual session? And is the main tool that is taught and used in every session the creation cycle? And then somebody else kind of added on that. Are you mainly coaching from that tool, or are you always gathering, new tools from other sources and incorporating that? So I would love to hear from you guys. By the way, we do teach you how to hold a session. There's a bonus training inside of certification where we teach you how to conduct a 45-minute session. So there is that. I would love to hear from you guys, especially some of you who've been in doing this a while. Are you incorporating other tools? Do you mainly use the creation cycle? Anybody who wants to jump in is fine. Just tell us.
I put a lot of spiritual components into my coaching. And so I use the creation cycle a lot. And I also lead them through freedom prayer and spiritual direction, to also hear from the Lord in repentance and breaking free from agreements and things like that. So I love that I get to put the spin on it
Your
from my
spin on it.
personal. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that, Jessica.
And I use some of my counseling tools too, but one of the things that Aline does that I love is the whole processing of emotions and just, putting your hand on your heart and noticing the emotion, asking it questions. I incorporate some internal family systems, which is what are your different parts. I think Megan Ladd does that.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
I use some of that as well. So I think your own experience along
Yep.
with the tools that you use.
I love that. So good.
I would say most of what I use is really what I learned in certification. And I have gone back and rewatched it and learned it totally different because I'd been coaching for 9 months.
Oh, I love that, Carrie.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I consider Life Mentoring School also as continuing ed. So it never fails that whatever we're working on in the quarter, I've got a client who's struggling with something in that same area. So I end up hearing myself using your current words, Dr. Edie, still in weaving.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think too, we've been doing some things, again, because we really do want to support our coaches. We developed a directory this last quarter where people in Life Mentoring School or anybody who comes to our website can find a coach. And I know that some of our coaches have been getting some clients from that. We also this last quarter made our planner available that our coaches can purchase for their clients or give a link to their clients. And I think that has been a great resource, because we those of us in LMS use that tool. I mean, it's a tool. So we use that tool a lot. And then for you to be able to give that to your clients, because otherwise we don't sell it outside of Life Mentoring School, but we have just in this last couple of months made it available to our coaches so that their clients can get it. So I think that's super helpful tool too, as far as tools that we can provide. Anybody else want to speak to that? Somebody is asking, on average, how many clients do you have or how many members are in your groups? Anybody want to share? And maybe you can share like when you started, how many clients you kept, or maybe what your goal is or whatever.
I started with trying to keep like 5 or 6 people. And then I really, really like it a lot because I have a full-time job, y'all. A very demanding full-time job, actually. If you're in life mentoring school, you guys are demanding in the very best way. You guys are in it. And so
they're in it to win it.
they're in it to win it. And so, but I love it so much. And so then I would take, 8. And then right now I accidentally have 13 clients. I didn't mean to, but I do have 13 clients. But I like, my sweet spot is about 10. But of course, my time, my full-time job does not have set hours. So I can, I'm a little bit more flexible than some people, but that's what I take.
I love that. Would you share, Carrie? I know you have.
I would love to. I started out with the kind of trickled in 2, then 4, then 8, then 10, and then I have 12.
Okay.
And probably like 8 to 10 is my sweet spot right now. But I'll tell you, if somebody needs help, I love it so much. Same as Angela, I will.
You'll say yes.
Over to 12.
I love that. And you guys, listen, I think what is so cool about all of our coaches that we've trained being one-on-one coaches, here's what you'll find. Somebody was asking this question, so I think this will help. Like she was asking, I would love to know the main difference between one-on-one and group coaching from a coach's perspective. So I want to touch on this because I think this is really important. When I started looking for a one-on-one coach, it's really hard to find one because a lot of people do one-on-one coaching for a while and then they pretty quickly form a group or whatever. So I think I love that we have so many amazing women who offer one-on-one coaching, because a lot of people, especially if they don't know about coaching, they feel shy to go into a group, and so they really prefer one-on-one. Now, and when I was trying to find a coach, it was kind of hard to find somebody. Like, does this person still do one-on-one? Because if they've been coaching a long time, a lot of times they'll go to groups. Now, I will say, as a person who runs a giant group online, and as a person who's mostly been in group coaching programs, I love group coaching too. But here's what I will say from a coach's perspective, and any of you who run a group might speak to this. I think a lot of people as coaches think, well, I'm going to do one-on-one for a while, and then I'll do group coaching so that I can, coach everybody at once. And then my workload is a lot less hours. But that doesn't usually prove to be true. What you trade is you trade marketing the group for coaching. So as your group gets bigger, and as you're wanting your group to get bigger and grow, then you got to spend more time marketing. And so for most people that I know, it works out about the same. So, I don't do one-on-one coaching, but I work, a good amount of hours. A lot of that is spent delivering the program, marketing the program, all of that. So, I think there's such a beautiful thing about a pretty simple one-on-one practice. It's not complicated. There's not a lot of marketing to it. There's not a lot of stuff to keep up with. I think it's such a beautiful model that if you love that, there's no reason. I mean, my one-on-one coach that I had for a long time has been coaching for years, and she still loves her one-on-one practice. So you don't ever have to outgrow that if you don't want to. Anybody else want to speak to that at all? One-on-one versus group?
I just wanted to say kind of like what my client load looks like, because I am a stay-at-home mom. I have littles at home with me. And so I like comfortable for me in this season is like 4 to 5 clients. I do 30-minute sessions because I can get that many in one morning. And so I get help every Tuesday morning. Like that's my coaching day. And so in the beginning, I was like, okay, well, if I just sprinkle it, because doing a lot of them might be too much, but what works best for me is to put all of them together. And then I'm just in like coach mode. And I love Tuesdays. It is so fun for me. But that feels very like easy and comfortable for me in this season to still do the other things that matter to me too. So
I love that. We had somebody ask what opportunities are provided to practice coaching. When you join our program, you get divided into cohorts. And the cohorts meet every week. So that's a small group. And both Carrie and Angela are certified instructors who lead a cohort. And you meet with that group once a week. Every other week, it's led by the coach. And then on the off weeks that it's not led by the coach, you just get together with your group and coach each other. So there's about, I don't know, 14, 15 weeks of that during the training. Anybody else want to speak to that coaching practice? I still think sometimes, I mean, I still fully believe that even as much practice as you get in the program, really becoming an excellent seasoned coach requires coaching people. So I think you just get better and better and better as you coach. And let's see, Angela is asking how many people are in the cohorts? Usually around 12, 13, something like that.
Right
It's
now,
a
we
good-
try not to go over 12.
Yeah. So it's a
About-
good number because even if you want them to be big enough that if a couple of people are missing, you still have enough people, to coach, but you don't want them to be too big because you want everybody to get practice. So we found that that's a pretty good sweet spot. Nancy asked, if you're wanting to eventually transition to coaching full time, how many clients would you typically need to have? Has anybody figured out like, oh, if I wanted to do this full time, what would that look like in my practice? I mean, I will say that in all the coaching groups I've been in, most people would consider 20 clients a week or probably not more than 25 clients a week full time, because that's actually, usually 20 coaching hours, which could be a lot.
And I
Yeah.
would say you almost need to decide what your salary needs to be, and then you get to decide what your rate that you feel comfortable with is, and then do the math to see what makes sense to you to go full time or not.
Yeah.
And I think that varies for everyone.
Yeah. Really good. I'm trying to see if we have any other questions. I would love to hear what people are charging and how long the commitment is for individual coaching. Is it usually weekly? Do you do 30 minutes, an hour? In general, what do you charge? Anybody willing to say like maybe what you charged at first versus what you charge now or what your rates are?
I'm willing
Carrie?
to. So I started out at 1,000 for 12 weeks, paid up front.
Okay.
And then as I got more experienced, as my demand increased by a lot, and as I became a coach instructor, now it's 2,500 for 12 weeks. And
Okay.
I offer a discount to LMS students.
Oh,
And
awesome. I love that. So 12 weeks. So on average, like 125 an hour. Is that what that works out to? Something like that?
well, that'd be like, yeah, probably a little more than that.
More than that. Yeah. Okay.
200. Yeah. Just
200-ish an hour. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. And I was just going to speak to kind of the value of doing coach certification, if you don't mind. So
Yes.
I would say that just being in certification for me paid for itself, just in how it helped me show up differently as a mom, a grandma to be, a sister, a friend. Like it really took LMS and just, what is the current, like 10x'd it. It just made LMS just like part of my being, just naturally.
Oh.
And then came this beautiful this chance to coach people. And Scott, my husband, said to me in the kitchen the other day, he was thinking back just like to my postpartum depression that I had with my last. And my therapist had said, just really watch her during times of transition, because that can be hard for women when they have a big transition. And we'll be empty nesters in a couple of years. And he said, and then you found this like calling, right? You found this beautiful calling that helped you, show up even more as a mom, more as a family member, more as a wife, more as me, more of me.
Yes.
And I get to help people. And I'm bringing in significant money into our household that could pay for all our vacations, right? Or pay for help the
Yes.
kids or help extended family, or it's given us this kind of wiggle room with our budget. So I'm just a big fan. I just wanted to throw that in there.
That's so cool. And you guys, we really don't talk about that very much, but I'm telling you, Carrie, Angela, Lindy, Shelly, I know that so many of our coaches have been able to really bless their families financially and do things that they hadn't been able to do before, and, provide their families with this extra income, like Carrie said, vacation or whatever it is. And it's such a beautiful way. What I love so much about it is that it gives you such a beautiful way to do that without compromising your family, without compromising your faith. Most of the time, you can work this out to where you can still be there in the hours that you want to be there and need to be there for your family. Does anybody else want to speak to that, Shelley?
Yeah, I'd love to speak to that. One of the best things for me is when I was working in ministry, we had Saturday night services. So I was working 6 days a week. And it was a lot on my body. I'd had some health stuff going on as well. And so I just felt so just physically drained from this work schedule I was keeping. So transitioning to coaching allowed me to be really flexible. And even now, I'll go from a full load of clients and then it'll ebb and flow, and I have a few less. And for me, it works out perfectly because it allows me to be creative and do arts, which I love to do, or also care for my family during seasons. So I love the flexibility that
Yes.
coaching has provided for me. And speaking on the one-on-one versus the group, for me, I love to hold a space for women one-on-one, because there's some of us that just aren't comfortable bringing our junk to the table of a large group. And so I love having that flexibility of, my goal is to meet with women 45 minutes each session, but I can easily go over if the woman needs it during that time, because I am making my own schedule. And I love that. So for me, my package is $1,800 upfront for 10 weeks.
Okay.
And I also offer Boxer access, which is an app where we can communicate voice to voice whenever it's needed. Some people use it a lot and some people don't use it at all. It's just another little bonus that I offer women in our sessions. So, and I have a high renewal rate. So that tells me that women are getting what they need. And then there'll be women that I know that are coming in, and I just think, gosh, they're just going to need this one package, this 1 3-month session with me, and it's going to change everything for them. And then there are women who get in and they're like, oh my goodness, this is what I've always needed. I need just 1 more or 2 more rounds of this for it to really set in deeply to me and change everything. So for me, I just love the flexibility of a one-on-one practice and plan to stick with that.
I love that.
So.
Michelle asked, if I'm on the coach waiting list, is that sufficient, or is there an application? If I decide I am in on Friday, am I in? Definitely come on Friday, because we do have some special enrollment bonuses on Friday, but applications will open on Monday. If you're on the wait list, you will get everything you need. But if you want these, there's a couple of special things that you need to be there on Friday for enrollment bonus wise. Yes, Jenny, we have a payment plan. We sure do. We have 3 different ways to pay. Somebody else had a question. Oh, Trudy said, what does the Christian certification part look like? Is it that the foundation of the program, or is there a particular Christian component? We're going to cover this on Friday. I've never really taught about it. This is just the water I swim in. So whatever I create feels like it grows out of my faith. And so I've never even really taught on what I consider to be the very specific Christian components of our program. And there are several of them that I'm going to talk about on Friday. So I will go into it more there. I have hesitated, to be honest, in the past to call it Christian, because sometimes what someone's expectation of that is different. They feel like, oh, this is going to kind of be like an in-depth Bible study or something like that. It's not that at all. But it is so steeped in scripture, and the tools come from scripture. The way I see life comes from that. And so, we're going to talk about that on Friday. I'm really excited because I've never sort of delineated what I feel like are all the specific pieces that make it a faith-based program. Now, do I think somebody could join LMS and not be a believer and get plenty out of it? Yes. Do I think someone would enjoy getting certified as a coach in our program if they weren't a believer? Probably not. That would just be my guess. They still, I think, could learn a lot and gain some great tools, but I feel like it's pretty, it's pretty steeped in scripture. All right. Anybody else have anything to say on that topic at all? As far as, was it what you expected? As far as the faith-based component of it? Anybody have thoughts? You don't have to have thoughts.
I guess I just expected it to be, I mean, to me, it is foundationally based in scripture. So, Life Mentoring School is as well. And so, what I love about it is it's not like doctrine, like, you're
Right.
I go to like a charismatic church. We still believe the same foundational things.
Yeah.
And like, so to me, that's perfect. Like, the foundation is there. But it's not like some, we don't have to agree on every little piece of doctrine or da 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 da. Like, to me, that's perfect.
Yes, I totally agree. All right, everybody. I think we got through most of the questions and we've gone over time. Thank you for your time today, everybody. I'm so glad that you could be here and share your heart with the soon to be coach applicants and soon to be coaches that are excited to learn more about the program. We're so proud of our LMS coaches. I seriously feel like we won the lottery. Every time I get to meet or talk to our coaches, I'm like, how did we win the lottery with these amazing women? I'm so, so grateful to know you. I'm so grateful that we get to call you ours. And thanks for being here today. And I'll see you guys lots during the week for Coach Week, but on Friday for sure, noon Eastern. If you aren't on the coach certification wait list, make sure to go to edwadsworthcoaching.com, click the little certification icon, and get on our wait list. We'll send you the link Friday morning for the webinar on Friday. Shelly, yeah.
Okay, I just have one little thing to add. So many of us will sit behind the scenes thinking, oh, I wish I could.
Yeah.
I wish I could. And I just want women out there who are listening that are feeling the nudge to say yes, for you to know that there is room for everyone to win. I think oftentimes as women, we think, oh, they're winning or they're doing it. There's not enough space for me to do it. And that's a lie that we believe. There is so much room for all of us to win. And it can be used for multiple things. One of the gals in my cohort is writing a book, and that's how she's using her certification process. So I don't know, there's just room for everyone. And I just have a heart for letting women know that.
I love that. Michelle asked, are there any of you independently certified with ICF? Our program is not certified with ICF. I know we do have people who have different certifications who maybe have been through another program and then get certified with us, but we are not affiliated with ICF. And I don't think any of you are. Any of you certified with ICF? I didn't think so. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We love spending time with you today. Have a great rest of your day. At 2:00 today, I think we have another Coach Week call. So we will see you there. Have a great one. Bye, everybody.